Spore is, for lack of a better word, is an evolutionary god game simulator where you take your humble species and evolve it from a single cell into a spacefaring civilization. Whether or not they look the part of a brave noble hero, or whatever the heck that thing is. To further elaborate on the game itself, it's more of a blend of genres, especially as your creature grows more complex and intelligent. The game was developed by Maxis and with Will Wright leading the overall design, and was later published by EA. Challenge everything. Spore itself had an absolutely amazing 2005 E3 premiere, showing many features that they wanted to bring into this game. Sadly, some things that they showed in the demo as a proof of concept fell right into the chopping block. RIP Ocean Stage. When it was released, the game was lauded for its ability to create nearly everything within the creators itself, and then see them not only placed in your game, but possibly others as well if you wanted to share it to the world. I personally remember at one point when I first got the game that I spent an entire day messing around with the creature creator and fiddling with all the parts to create something that looked cool, or was utterly horrifying. It kinda just depended on what my teenage brain wanted to spawn up at the very moment. Though the novelty of making everything can feel a bit overwhelming, it is a plus that they include an online catalog that allows you to use someone else's creations, old ones you've made, or other ones that the game's just saved. And when it comes to stuff people have made, you can and will get a lot of crazy things. Fortunately, if you're not in the mood for that, you can set it up so that they don't pop up, or, ban them. I'm personally a fan of the creator and how it interacts with the game, but I do have a hang up when it comes to making and sharing certain things. Mostly when it came to making my creature in the game, the system would save and share every iteration I made. So a small tweak here and there made an entirely new species, and then later put it on random planets just all over the place. On top of that, at least for me, I had to forcibly share creations in order to get them put on Sporepedia. That being said, Sporepedia is a pretty good spot to find a lot of creations. The game itself has 4 distinct stages. Some are fan favorites, some are kinda meh, and a few just need improvement. The first stage, and honestly the simplest to play, is a cell stage, introducing you to the basic mechanics such as movement, diet, and mating. That's right, y'all, making more, cells. It's also in the stage we are introduced to DNA points. You use these points to add more parts to your creature in both the cell and creature stages, but more on the creature stage in a moment. Back to cells. The main goal of the cell stage is to drift around in the primordial soup and grow your way up the food chain and eventually develop enough complexity to evolve a brain. In my opinion, this stage is a close second for my personal favorite. Even though you're provided with very few parts by comparison to other stages, the ones available to you allow you to drastically change your cell and form a playstyle that's all your own. You'll unlock most of these parts by finding them in the environment itself, or by taking out other cells that have those parts. Overall, the stage is pretty simple, but it can get frantic. You're on a constant race to get food and not end up on the menu yourself. Eventually, you'll grow to the point where you develop a brain, and when that time comes, it's time to move on to land. And whether or not you grow legs is entirely on you. This starts, in my opinion, the best stage of the game, the creature stage. You are now free to wander and interact with other species and unlock parts either by digging up bones or taking out or charming alpha creatures. You'll encounter many obstacles to your survival from hostile creatures, giant predators, and even natural disasters. Eventually, as you go, you'll grow more and more intelligent and start to form a pack. But with this step in intelligence, a greater journey occurs. Periodically through the creature stage, your nest will migrate, changing the nest location and the species that you will interact with. I personally like the stage because the creator is operating in full force, letting you shape and mold your species to create the perfect creature for your playstyle, whether that be a sleek predator, a charming herbivore, or somewhere in between. Depending on how you do things, this stage can either be very long or very, very quick, though it definitely isn't one of the shorter stages in the game. Also, every stage you complete prior to the one you are in gives you an ability that you can use to help win your adventures, though they are limited to how you complete the stage overall, with only really 3 options per stage. These all contribute to your creature's overall history, as well as creating your profile for your space stage. Eventually, like all good things, the creature stage will come to an end, and it's time now to form a tribe. The tribal stage plays in a significantly different fashion than the creature stage. Instead of controlling just one individual creature and navigating on a small scale, you are now thrust into the more RTS-style type of control scheme, where you can select villagers and assign them to specific tasks or equip certain tools. Your entire goal is to pacify any rival villages. Whether or not you do that peacefully or not is entirely up to you. Just keep in mind that how you handle them will affect your next stage. Your primary resource is food, which you can get with relative ease, or by borrowing it from your neighbors. Strangely enough, it costs food to build buildings. The village itself is pretty limited, unfortunately, considering you'll never have the ability to build every building available at any given time. As you progress, both your totem pole and main hut will grow and expand, letting you make your tribe larger and more powerful as a result, as well as showing how you took care of your rivals. Eventually, after conquering or befriending the rival villages, your people realize that their humble hut is a bit too small for their grander ambitions, and in order to achieve them, they must expand and advance to the civilization stage. When it comes to entering this stage, we have to look at how we completed the tribal stage, since this will affect our overall ethical alignment in the civ stage. If you were friendly and pacified your rivals with song and dance, you'll be more religiously inclined. If you decided that your village woke up and chose violence that day, well, you'll be more warlike. If you used a more pragmatic approach, then your empire will lean towards a more mercantile stance. Regardless of your initial archetype, you can capture any city that is not aligned and convert it to yours, or keep it as is. After all, there's nothing like a merchant armada or an air force that would make several nations jealous. The gameplay in this stage is akin to your basic RTS, especially when it comes to sending around your units to take care of business. For the most part, aside from being a merchant, you'll be attacking your rival cities directly. If you decided to embrace the loving arms of capitalism, you'll be establishing trade routes and eventually buying out your neighbors and maybe even the whole world. Or you could just show everyone what mutually assured destruction looks like. No matter how you unify the world, you gather your best scientists and build the ultimate piece of technology, a spaceship. With this, we've officially entered the space stage, a stage in my opinion that has tons of width but no depth. Welcome to space. The cosmos are now yours to explore, colonize new worlds, or conquer them. You can shape worlds and create features to improve the planet or make it worse. There are definitely a few mechanics in this stage that let you have some pretty creative fun. Terraforming is, at least in my opinion, one of the more interesting aspects of this stage. From cutting canyons to creating mesas, coloring the skies and seas, and planting the seeds of life and watching it grow and flourish. There's also benefits to doing this too. Your colonies will become more productive and happy, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows out in space. Eventually, as your empire grows, you'll encounter the Groks, a race of evil cybernetic aliens that live near the center of the galaxy, and well, they're huge jerks. They live on barren, lifeless worlds and have a penchant for exterminating life that they find bothersome. And to them, all life is bothersome. After you encounter them, they'll periodically strike out and wipe out planets from time to time, just randomly. I could go on about how the Groks are disliked by everyone, and the only way to become their friend is to become equally disliked by everyone else, and how they've seemed to have wiped out numerous civilizations across the galaxy. But more importantly, and pressing, what are they keeping at the center of the galaxy? Something they're keeping secret, something that could destroy them. We must have the answers, so eventually we make it to the galactic core, and what we find there is shocking.
Greetings, my friend. You have traveled very far and overcome many obstacles. Along the way, you have encountered many of your diverse, far-flung siblings. Precious few of them will make it this far. Your heroic efforts have proven you deserving, worthy of advancement to the next level of your existence. The universe you inhabit is but one of many, countless worlds, unseen but yet connected. Your creative efforts have not gone unnoticed. Indeed, they have spilled into these other unseen worlds, just as your world is being enriched by them. It is now time for you to join us. Join us. No, just kidding. It's not scary. Indeed, the times ahead, they're good. Really good. Some of you may ask, who is this mysterious voice who knows so much and possesses such great powers? I'm glad you asked.
You meet Steve, and he's, well, yeah.
I mean, in a metaphorical sense. Oh, one last thing. We are nearly sold out of the last bay for a wonderful timeshare opportunity on one of our largest stars, and a rare planet in its orbit. If you're in the neighborhood, we'd love to have you by for a free breakfast and short presentation.
He does give you the Staff of Life, the ultimate tool for terraforming, however. It's kind of at this point, for lack of a better word, you've finished the space stage entirely. Now anything else you do is just kind of to do it. I mean, you could wipe out the Grox, but that's going to be a slog, and it brings up a good question. Is it bad to do bad things to bad people? Asking for a friend. I personally didn't have the stomach or motivation to wipe them out entirely, but if you do, they don't pop up in any games you make after the fact. The fun doesn't end here, however, seeing as the game did get 2 expansions, one just simply a parts pack, the other one though, Galactic Adventures, allows you to take control of your ship's captain and go on adventures on the ground. With new equipment and all the chaos that can come from years of shared content, there is a decent variety of things to do adventuring across the cosmos, from exploring ancient ruins to helping on the battlefield against the Grox, and many, many adventures in between. There are quite a few games now. Even today, they're still trying to capture some of the magic that Spore created back in 2008. I'm not gonna lie, I'm hoping that they not only deliver on making a successor to this unique gem of a game, but also grow and evolve into a genre all its own. I hope you enjoyed the video. More content to come, especially as I get into the swing of making things this summer. Next time we'll come back to Earth, but we aren't done with our buddies from outer space. As a matter of fact, they came looking for a good old fight, and we got just the thing for them. Thanks again for watching. Please help me out by liking and subscribing to the channel, and more content to come. Until then, stay safe and have a good one.
Good luck, Commander.